why is it that 95% of Nigerian uranium is powering over 30% of France, while over 70% of Nigerians have no electricity?
Tell me, how come 95% of Niger uranium power 30% of France electricity, yet Niger doesn't have electricity energy for her children? That is what the children of Ghana, the citizens of Ghana, were expecting their president to ask the Western colonial criminals. How come Ghana has oil and yet Ghana can only earn less than 10% of her oil revenue? Ghana can only earn less than 10% of her oil revenue. That is what the people of Ivory Coast wanted President Alassane Ouattara to ask the Western colonial criminals. That is what all over Africa, the citizens of Africa wanted their leadership to ask the Western colonial criminals. The only people who are asking that question is those in the Sahel region. That is why Mama Arikana is speaking for those people from the Sahel region. We thank Mama Arikana. We thank God for giving us such a mother. She is the mother of Africa. We thank God for giving us such a mother at this particular point in our history. Mama, may you live to see Africa Day of Glory. May you live to see a day where your children, the children of Africa, will not more be perishing in the Sahara Desert on their way to Western Europe. May you live to see a day where the children of Africa will no more be perishing in the Mediterranean Sea because they want to have a dignified life in Europe. Now we thank Mother Nature for giving us such a mother like you at this particular point in our history. Mama is asking a question. How come? What happened? Why? How will it make sense? But I want us to go and watch the full video, come back and analyze it. But before we do that, please don't forget to support our mission, One Africa Mission, the #1 African mission. We are on a mission, and our mission is all about the unification of the African continent and the dignity of our race, just as Mama is asking. Let us go and watch the full video and come back and analyze it. Support our mission, as I said.
We're saying to the world, no more can you continue to exploit the Africans. Right. The Africans, we have gone through centuries of being stupid, of being ignorant, of being dumb, of allowing the world to just piss all over us. Well, that period is over. Africans are saying, we now know what is really going on. And if you truly want to be an African leader that's going to survive this revolution, you have to be an African leader that is anti-imperialism, an African leader that is anti-neocolonization, an African leader that's going to stand with the people in their pushback against the West, against the East, and anybody else that thinks they can come to Africa and exploit us. They can no longer walk all over us anymore. Tell me, why is it that 95% of Nigerian uranium is powering over 30% of France, while over 70% of Nigerians have no electricity? How is that okay?
Yes, so Mama has spoken a lot, and all her speech was about asking relevant questions to the African leadership, to the youth of Africa, and to the colonial criminals. Because this is a new dawn for Africa. Africa is at the crossroad, and we are asking questions. And then we are telling our leadership, if you want to be relevant as a leader in Africa, then you must stand up for the children of Africa. Because as we speak today, all over the world, everybody, all leaders are now beginning to realize that they must stand up for their people. But when it comes to us, we still have leaders who are more than ready to work for the interests of the colonial criminals at the detriment of their own citizens. And that is what we don't want. We cannot continue to see our leadership betraying us just to satisfy the Western colonial criminals. No more that. And Mama said it. If you really want to be part of the history of Africa, then you must join the revolution. Fight for a better, dignified Africa for the children of the continent of Africa. How can people who have everything are perishing or being disrespected all over the world? That is the question Mama is asking. And we need answers to that. We need answers to that. How is it possible that Niger, she asks, how is it possible that the uranium in Niger can give France 30% of its energy, its electricity, and yet Niger has to also go to Nigeria. Nigeria too doesn't have electricity. Like, why do we allow ourselves to be programmed into this? Like, how? That we will wake up every day working for the Europeans to live like queens and kings whilst we are living like slaves. For how long this slavery of African people going to continue? And yet we still have leaders who see nothing wrong with that. No, we cannot continue to accept it. And then we say enough is enough. If the question was when enough is going to be enough for the children of Africa, then we say it's today. Today we are saying enough is enough. We cannot continue to take that the resources of Africa can only benefit Europe. The resources of Africa can only benefit America. The resources of Africa can only benefit the Chinese. We want the resources of Africa to benefit the continent of Africa, the children of Africa. And those in the Sahel, they are doing the right thing. And that is why we are all behind them. Our leadership in the Sahel region. They are doing the right thing. Look at what is happening there. They are not selfish. They are not only thinking about themselves. They are thinking about the entire continent of Africa and also their citizens, which is what everybody is doing. That is what the people of the leadership in France are doing. And it is the reason why you will see them signing contract to make sure that 95% of the Niger uranium power their electricity, 30% of their electricity. So when you are living in France, you don't know what is light off. Light out, you don't know what is that. And yet the people providing them that in their country, they also have to go to another country which doesn't have energy enough to supply their people, to provide them that. Like, how does that make sense to you? Please, if you can let me know. How come Nigeria, that doesn't have enough electricity enough energy to give their people electricity, is providing Niger, and yet Niger is providing 30% of French electricity? Do you know what 30% of French electricity means? 30% of France electricity can power at least half of the ECOWAS countries. 30% of France electricity, because all these industries, how they misuse power. 30% of France electricity can power the half of West Africa. And yet, the entire West Africa doesn't have stable electricity. No country in West Africa has stable electricity. And a small or a country of less than 30 million population in Niger are the ones supplying 30% of the French electricity. Today we are asking why. If the former administration in Niger, if they can understand this, I'm sure they will be proud of this military junta in Niger. I'm sure the former President Bazoum, I'm sure today he will be proud wherever he is. He'll be proud of what the military are doing in Niger. He couldn't have done that because he was being tied by the French. But today the military are doing that, and we thank God for the military. You can talk to us about democracy or whatever, but that is not what we want, because democracy never given us the dignity that we want as children of Niger. Democracy has never given us the dignity that we need or we deserve as children of Mali. Democracy that they keep pushing on us never give us the dignity that we deserve as children of Burkina Faso. Today we have created an alliance, and that alliance gradually is giving us the dignity that we deserve, or we know we deserve as children of those Sahel regions. And then we urge all other African countries to join this Sahel. Imagine if Senegal can join. Imagine if Ghana has patriotic leadership that will join this Sahel. Imagine if Cote d'Ivoire, if other African countries will have patriotic leadership that will join this Sahel alliance. I am telling you, Africa would be a better place, not just for us, this generation of Africans, but for the next generation of Africans. I thank you very much for coming around. Please, if you appreciate what we are doing, don't hesitate to share what we are doing. Support our mission by subscribing to our YouTube channel, One Africa, the #1 Africa Mission. On Facebook, One Africa Mission. On TikTok, One Africa Mission. We are on a mission to chase Satan out of Africa and to bring back our dignity as children of Africa. The future generation of Africans deserve a better, dignified Africa. Thank you very much.